Welcome to AI Brief, episode 264. Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, the sheer speed of innovation. And we're asking, what's the real cost of all this progress to the web, our resources, even our understanding of the universe?
It's a really crucial question right now. We're seeing these fundamental shifts in AI, like the complicated relationship between AI firms and web content publishers.
Right.
And then there's the absolutely surging demand for AI compute power, plus some interesting strategic moves in how models like Grok are actually being trained.
Exactly. So we'll unpack that story about Anthropic and the web crawlers, look at Silicon Valley's, relentless push on AI infrastructure, and analyze XAI's staffing changes.
And after that,
Then we'll quickly touch on some pretty amazing science news and wrap up with some AI tools that honestly could boost your productivity today. Let's jump right in.
okay. So first up, this developing situation between AI companies and web publishers. We're hearing about Anthropic's bots, the ones related to Claude.
Apparently, they're asking for way more web pages than they send traffic back. Cloudflare has this crawl to refer metric. What does that actually tell us? What's it revealing?
Okay, so the crawl to refer metric, it's pretty straightforward. It measures the ratio between how many pages a bot crawls from a site versus how much traffic it refers back to that site.
And the imbalance is the key thing.
The imbalance is huge. Anthropic's bots, and they're not alone here, are built to just vacuum up public web pages to train their models. Super efficient for them.
But not for the websites.
Right. The critical point is they generate almost no referral traffic in return. Very, very little.
So if I own a website, I'm seeing my hosting costs go up because these bot swarms are hitting my server constantly. But I'm not getting the visitors, the ad clicks, the usual stuff I'd expect from something indexing my site. Sounds like a raw deal.
It is, and it's more than just server costs,
Yeah.
It's shaking the foundations of the web's sort of grand bargain.
The grand bargain.
Yeah, for years, the idea was creators make content, search engines send traffic, everyone makes money through ads or whatever. It worked, mostly.
But AI changes that.
AI is extracting the value, the data, the information, without really participating in that reciprocal relationship. It's not just erosion. It could fundamentally reorder the whole information economy online.
So the question for listeners, for businesses, is how do you even operate in that environment?
Precisely. How do you adapt your data policies? Do you need new licensing deals? Protective measures? It forces you to think about protecting your costs, your brand, everything in this new landscape. How long can the open web really sustain this?
It really makes you wonder if everything just ends up behind a paywall eventually, or, massive legal fights.
But both are possibilities. It's a space to watch.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, I saw this report, I think it was Goldman Sachs, saying AI demand is just through the roof, outpacing supply. Their quote was, "No one's slowing down." What is driving this just insatiable need for compute?
Yeah, it captures the moment well. We're talking about a serious macro-level imbalance.
Yeah.
AI compute means data center space, GPU availability, those graphics chips essential for AI.
Right, the really high-end ones.
Exactly. And cloud resources, too. But unlike, say, the dot-com bubble, which was often speculative,
A lot of hype back then.
a lot of hype, today's AI spending, it's actually backed by real customers, enterprise and consumer, who are paying for these services. You see companies like OpenAI targeting, $13 billion in revenue this year? That's real cash flow driving real demand.
And I heard something really interesting that big rivals like Meta, Google, OpenAI are sometimes even sharing compute resources.
It sounds strange, but yes, it just shows how severe the bottleneck is. These compute limits are already forcing companies to delay product launches, maybe slow down certain services, prioritize research.
So it's having immediate effects on roadmaps.
Absolutely. For 2024, 2025, access to compute is becoming a core strategic asset, like digital real estate. So for you listening, if you're in business, you need to plan for this high level of AI investment to continue and expect these bottlenecks.
And it also changes the game for software, right? Like AI writing code potentially undercutting traditional software as a service.
That's another huge implication.
Yeah.
It forces you to rethink your product's unique value, your pricing, even your hiring strategy for tech talent. We're in this era of, potentially autonomous development starting to emerge.
It feels like a gold rush, but for GPUs and data centers, not just the AI models themselves.
That's a great way to put it. The digital picks and shovels are where a lot of the constraint is right now.
Okay, so from supply constraints to maybe a different kind of constraint. Talent and strategy. xAI, Musk's company behind Grok, laid off about 500 data annotators. Generalists, I understand. What's the thinking there?
This looks like a very clear strategic pivot. It signals, I think, a maturation in the industry, or at least for XAI. They're moving away from these huge teams doing broad, generic data labeling
For what?
towards smaller, much more specialized teams.
Yeah.
They're focusing on building up what they call domain-specific AI tutors. Experts in, say, science, tech, engineering, math, finance, medicine, safety.
So quality over just sheer quantity of labeled data.
Exactly. They're not just cutting costs, they're reallocating resources. They actually plan to significantly expand that specialist team, maybe tenfold. They want deep expertise guiding the AI's training in specific areas.
That's fascinating. So it's less about just feeding the beast endless data and more about targeted high-quality instruction.
Precisely. And you see this trend emerging elsewhere, too. Even the really well-funded labs are realizing that just scaling up generic annotation has limits. They need that high-skill input to improve accuracy, safety, and, crucially, performance on specialized tasks.
So for people listening, maybe involved in building AI teams, this changes who you might want to hire.
It really does. The demand for domain experts, people who deeply understand a field and can effectively teach an AI, is likely going to grow much faster than the need for large crowdsourced annotation teams. It's a shift from brute force scaling to more nuanced, specialist-driven AI development.
A real evolution in how these powerful models are built. Okay, while AI is moving so fast, the rest of science isn't exactly standing still either. Some incredible things happening.
Absolutely. And interestingly, some echo themes of data and discovery, like NASA's Perseverance rover on Mars.
What's the latest there?
It sent back images with what could be biosignatures.
Yeah.
These are like distinctive spots that often form when microbes munch on organic matter.
Wow. So potential signs of past life.
Potential is the key word. They're still looking hard at non-biological explanations, being very careful. But NASA's saying it's the closest they've come yet to possibly finding evidence of ancient Martian life. Still a way to go, but very exciting.
Incredible. And sticking with data, but in a totally different way, DNA tape. Storing potentially every song ever recorded?
Yeah, isn't that wild? Scientists have figured out how to print synthetic DNA onto plastic tape. It creates this medium that can hold, get this, 36 petabytes of data.
36 petabytes, that's astronomical.
It is. You can't, play it in your old cassette deck, obviously.
Yeah.
But for long-term, super dense data archiving, it's a massive step. Imagine storing entire libraries, maybe even AI training sets, for centuries.
Storing AI data on DNA, the future is strange. And speaking of massive scales, black holes. There was a breakthrough related to Stephen Hawking's work.
Yes, a really profound one. Scientists finally got observational proof for Hawking's 1971 black hole area theorem.
Which basically says
That the surface area of a black hole can only ever increase. It can never shrink. They confirmed it by analyzing gravitational waves from two black holes that smashed together about 1.3 billion light years away.
So watching black holes collide proved the theory.
Essentially, yes. It turns these cosmic collisions into these amazing natural laboratories for testing fundamental physics like general relativity under the most extreme conditions imaginable. Huge validation.
Mind-bending stuff. And back here on Earth, a potential medical breakthrough. 3D printing bone grafts during surgery.
This sounds amazing. They've developed a device that uses a special filament. It's made from natural bone material and a biocompatible plastic.
And it prints right onto the fracture.
Apparently so. It melts at a low enough temperature that it doesn't damage the surrounding tissue. If this pans out, it could massively cut down surgery times.
Because right now, getting custom implants takes weeks.
Weeks of preparation. This could mean personalized bone repair right there in the operating room. A huge leap for orthopedic surgery.
Just incredible innovation across the board. Okay, let's round this out with some trending AI tools, things you might find useful right now.
Yeah, lots popping up, but few caught our eye. xpander.ai is interesting if you're looking to build AI agents. It helps with both the back-end and the front-end development.
Makes it more accessible.
Seems to. Then there's Ada, positioned as your own AI data analyst. Could be useful for making sense of business data quickly.
And I saw Sidekick. That one looked cool, building automations, kind of like Zapier, but just by chatting with it.
Exactly. Super intuitive interface for automating workflows between apps. Lowering the barrier to automation is a big theme.
Also Incerto, described as an AI co-pilot for databases. Anything that makes database work easier is probably welcome.
Definitely. And JoggAI AvatarX, creating AI avatars that supposedly act more like humans. That's always an interesting area to watch.
For creatives, Maestro by beatoven.ai is their latest music generation model. What's notable is it's trained on licensed data.
That's a big deal, right? Addresses some of the copyright concerns around AI music generation.
Yeah, potentially offering a cleaner path for using AI music. Then there's AgentSea, a unified chat interface for accessing different AI models privately and safely.
Kind of like a secure hub for using various AIs. And finally, Dhisana AI, which looks like a specialized AI tool, like an AI cursor, specifically for sales teams to help with their workflows.
So tools getting more specialized, more integrated.
Absolutely. So as we've kind of covered today, it's just relentless change, whether it's how AI firms scrape the web, the sheer pressure on compute resources, these amazing science discoveries, or practical new tools. The pace is just staggering.
It really is. And it makes you think, doesn't it? For you listening, with all this happening so fast, how does it change how you think about solving problems or learning new things or just navigating the world in the next few months, the next year?
Yeah, it's a lot to process. We hope this deep dive is giving you maybe some clearer perspective, perhaps some new ideas to chew on.
And maybe even some tools to try out. If you found this valuable, please do follow AI Brief and maybe share it with colleagues or friends who might also find these insights useful.
Until next time, keep exploring.